Yes, there we go. Okay. Is it doing it? Yes. Just so many things to click. Right. Where's my notes? Here. Sorry about that. Right. Okay. So, welcome to Simply Visible. This is my weekly Website Wednesday live event. It's actually an extension of a free community I have over on Facebook called Simply Visible. So I'll just drop the link in the chat in case you're not already in there. So if this is your first time, I'll just do a little bit about me, and then I'll share some value for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we can have a chat, and hopefully I can help you with some questions that you might have. So I've been in digital marketing since 2001. I like to say that that was when the internet was still quite new, but then that makes me sound quite old. But over the years, I've acquired a lot of practical knowledge on website design, build, SEO, funnels, blogging, all of that sort of stuff. Because for many years I was a web designer, I had an agency style business, and I had clients and I was obviously doing project work with them. But long story short, I realised there were a lot of people doing what I was doing, and there was this kind of gap of being able to help businesses explain their businesses better, being able to kind of make their website work harder for them. But there was a lot of kind of tech and things to unravel. So 2020 happened and I had a chance to kind of reset and rethink about what I'd like to be sharing. And now I help service professionals like you to make more of their website and their online visibility. So I know better than anyone how confusing the topic of SEO is, how contradictory it is, and how many nuances there are with the terminology, etc. But often it's about sort of stopping, taking a step back, just looking, kind of meeting you where you're at and looking at aligning a few things to then be able to kind of move forward and make some progress. So back to today's training. The reality of SEO, dark art or logical process. Did you like my topic name? Excellent. So I didn't want it to be clickbaity, of course, but I think it came to me because I was having a conversation with one of my members yesterday who's in my program, and it just goes to show how, I mean, I obviously take for granted what somebody who doesn't know as much as me, how they would explain things. And she's been with me now for 3 months in my program, and she was saying, well, I just thought SEO was like, you find some keywords, you kind of do something on your website, put them in, and then magically, Google, people will find you, and then you'll start getting more inquiries and the phone will start ringing a bit more. And she said, but it isn't that, is it? So she's now realised that, yes, SEO is a part of this journey to getting your website working, but a lot of emphasis is put on SEO being the silver bullet. And that's where I think there's this kind of misconception about what SEO is about. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a big topic, but it's a logical process. So when you know what you're doing and you kind of can't then unknow it is the beauty of it. But the other thing to mention is that the nature of SEO, so search engine optimization, it's basically manipulation of the search engines, because we're trying to get them to find us and rank us, but the reality is they don't pay the bills. We need clients to do that. So whilst SEO, this term is bandied about a lot, and it is something you need to master, it's not the only part of it. It's one part of the puzzle that fits in with other things that, when they're working in harmony, will then bring those results. But if you're not doing all the pieces, then you're not going to get the results. So that probably sounds really cryptic, like I'm making it this dark art, but does that make sense so far? Yeah? Okay. So I say this quite a lot, you know, a website is the tool, but the content is the bit that fuels it. So the content with the messaging and with the right keywords and the right feel and experience and leading somebody through your website, that is what makes it. And it's a very human part of the process, because yes, we have two stakeholders. We have the search engines, but we also have our ideal customers, and they're the ones that pay the bills. So yes, search engine optimization is part of it, but it's making sure that you're doing it in such a way that means all these other parts of the puzzle kind of come together. And often, and one of this lady was saying, you know, we've probably all done a bit of all of it. You know, you've figured out your ideal client, you've thought about your messaging, you know, you've got a website, you've got some content up there. So it's not that you haven't made inroads or made progress. It's more that perhaps there are some things that aren't quite aligning or not set up or whatever. And that's the bit, I guess, that I help with, is kind of being able to educate you and guide you and to walk you through what needs to be done. So yeah, so from the one end, it's this like dark art of you're never going to understand it. And then the other end, it's this kind of really simplistic, oh, so it's just a few keywords and, you know, putting them in the right place. Well, yes and no. Hence why I say at the beginning, I realise how contradictory it sounds. So any comments so far? Any? Sorry, somebody trying to get hold of me. Any thoughts? Any questions? Or I could ask you a question. How does SEO make you feel, or what's your relationship with SEO so far in your business? Is anybody? Yes, Tony. Oh, can't hear you.
Sorry, I've got a mic I have to touch, so I'm enabled and unenabled.
Oh, right.
Double chance of failure. So back in the day, I used to be quite highly ranked, and then the algorithm changed, and I was one of the famous people that literally just dropped right off the map. So at that point, I lost interest, but that's wrong too.
Yeah, I guess because it is a long game, and whilst there can be some quick wins, it does take time. And I guess my question to you then would be, you know, how the algorithm was back in the day is quite different to now, and it's very content.
That's why I'm so keen to hear what you have to say, because I know that all that stuff doesn't really work anymore. And you know, it wasn't just that I lost interest in it. I was busy with doing other things, and I had absolutely no idea, if you stopped doing this stuff, quite how far you'd fall, because I was getting inbound work from the website. I was a top 7 most of the time, and now I'm on page 30 or something. So
Yeah.
if that.
Yeah, so that's another way to look at it, is that SEO is a moving, dynamic entity, just like your business is. And so it's not a kind of one and done process. Ads doing ads is a good way of getting that kind of quick fix and some business. But the benefit of doing it and getting it done right and having content more evergreen is that you're not going to just leave that content there like that forever. Just like you wouldn't a social channel, you have to keep a social channel alive, more so. It's a lot of work. Whereas when yes, it is kind of quantity of blogs particularly, but it's also quality. So you might go and look at some previous blogs you've written, tighten them up, get some more keywords ranking, or your competitors might have got above you, so then you've got to get above them. So it's just an ongoing part of the process, really. If only it was one and done, it'd be brilliant. I wouldn't be here, because I'd be on holiday. I'm sure we all would, but yeah.
Is the reality of a small business like myself ever getting a good ranking, not being on page 500? How much effort is that organically to make that achievable?
Mm-hmm. So that's a great question. Like anything, you've obviously got to put the right work in to do that. But I have had wins for clients really quickly. Had a bit of news yesterday. One of my ladies has only been in my program 2 months, and she's a celebrant, and she's won. Well, she had 2 inquiries through the website. Never had inquiries like that before, and she's just won a wedding. I don't know what the value of that was, but she's just elated because that's what she needed. So it can be really quick. We start with local search, and that's where you get the quicker wins, and then you build it from there. Beyond that, it's about sharing your knowledge. It's about being helpful, about ongoing. It is blogging, but it's also about knowing how to read the stats and analytics so that you can then understand what's working, what's not, and put more effort into what's working and less into what's not.
But not just plugging or having a plug-in and letting that do.
No.
Okay, nothing simple then.
It's not, but it's logical. That's the thing I really like to get across, is that it's actually quite fun once you get going and you start to see, oh, look at that, or it is logical, and it's yeah.
Can I just drop in a bit of my experience? I started to think that SEO optimization was a bit like understanding wine, in that you'd never get to the bottom of understanding wine because it changes every year. Except that understanding wine is far more enjoyable than SEO optimization. That said, when I migrated across to work with you, Natalie, I started to look at my website, and some of the tools that are in the Divi website, Yoast SEO optimization tool thingy, whatever it is, per page. And I went on the about page and I looked at it, and there were red dots everywhere. I thought, how am I going to get these red dots into green? And they give you clues. So sentence length was too long. There wasn't enough passive voice and all this sort of thing. So I wrote it and rewrote it and had a go, and it updated, and then still only getting to amber. I thought, I'm wasting a lot of time here. So my friend Charlie Chat came into play, and I copied and pasted it in and told it I want it sentences less than 20 words long, and this, and all the things that was being asked for. Put it in, green dots everywhere. So my word of wisdom on that is, don't struggle, get help, and online help and easy access is there. And I was surprised. And then I read it out to my wife, and she went, wow, didn't know you were like that.
And that's brilliant, but you'd obviously need to have the right keyword for it to then optimize.
Well, yeah. So I then went through and made sure it read. There are some watch outs. So someone's, I'm sure a lot of people publishing things, words of warning about AI generated copy, and words like transformative. There are words that creep in and people go, AI generated. So there are some things that you then have to put back in your own voice, but essentially, I would say 95% of what you need is there. You just need a couple of words changing.
Yeah.
And it's a lot quicker.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's using it as an assistant rather than relying on it. So rework
the other thing was, I had something to go from.
Yes, exactly.
Rather than I said, edit this in the style for SEO optimization,
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than create it from fresh, because they say, who are you?
Yeah. Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share kind of their relationship with SEO, or how it makes them feel, or?
I've never heard anybody describe SEO as fun, Natalie. I'm worried about you. But then Martin started talking about wine and I was back on topic again. I mean, as you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I find SEO really, really scary, and I don't really, a lot of my work comes from referrals, not through my website, which obviously is great, but I probably should have both of those tactics working in order to make sure the funnel's always full. So yeah, hence the reason why I'm on the call.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, thank you, Ellie. So yeah, I think some people still need it. It does depend on your business. It does depend on the goal of your website. Not everybody needs a website that's bringing in inquiries. However, I would still argue, well, why wouldn't you want to be kind of posting content that might be seen by your ideal customer, particularly with blogging, because it's kind of like a backdoor way in to the website. So it's not necessarily a hard sell or somebody coming and seeing a page that is, you know, buy from me or book a call. It's more about answering questions and being helpful. So for your site, I could very much see that for small startup businesses that are looking to get their products stocked on the supermarket shelves, they're going to have a lot of questions, and that's where you could answer those questions. You could build up their kind of trust in you as the go-to expert that could help them. Even if they're not ready then, it might take a bit of time, but writing some blogs about stuff you know about can be quite fun. Okay, still need to convince you of that then. Okay, so with regards to the actual benefits of SEO, I mean, I could talk about this for a long time to come, but ultimately it sort of boils down to three things. When your website is performing better, that means you have better visibility, and that gives you more of an opportunity to rank higher on the search engines, which then potentially attracts the right customers. Now, also the idea of organic traffic. So rather than having to go and slave away on socials, you're kind of pulling your customers to you rather than pushing your message out there. So, you know, helping them to find and discover you is what basically is I think the main benefit. And I had a really interesting example of this only last week, where I'd had somebody booked a call in my diary, never heard of them before, and it was a husband and wife, came on and did just a discovery call, which sort of turned into a bit of a longer call, and they were looking for SEO help, but they thought that they would find somebody to do it for them, and they had actually been speaking to somebody else about that. So when I explained kind of more how I work, they got it, and I ended up selling to them on the call. And this was a freezing cold lead, within one call. That's because the website had done some of the work for me, and then I use my landing pages almost as my script to talk somebody through. So if you put all that effort into some great content, use that. Don't be use it to your advantage, because all that logic and everything you've put in there is what they need to hear. So I was delighted, and that's turned into, you know, somebody coming onto the program for a year's worth of business. So it certainly works, and that you can't get that kind of result if you're not visible and if you're not ranking. And that actually, another thing to say was they were local. They wanted to work with a local company. So yes, we might all be able to work with people all over the world, but that could be the deciding factor. But you were local, and that's what they said to me. And SEO very much starts with local. Then the other benefit is better experience. because the process of SEO, as I was saying, it's only a part of it, but the process of it means that you're improving your website, you're improving the customer journey, you're really having to kind of meet your customer where they're at, and that ends up with just a much better website with better quality content, better, well, obviously it needs to be working on mobile and all of that, but better content, better experience, which then leads to better clients from my experience, because they're more pre-qualified and not such time wasters, which we've probably all experienced. And then the third kind of benefit is it's cost effective. So yes, it's not a quick win, although I have explained, you know, I can get quick wins, but long term, if you keep on top of it, you know, you kind of work with the algorithms as things change, and if you're following, if you're making it about the content and about the customer, it shouldn't ever really fall too far, because the principles of SEO remain the same even though things change. And I know there's going to be big changes coming, but it still all comes down to content, answering the right questions, being helpful, being authentic, and people by people. Ali knew that was coming, because I say it most weeks, but that can come through in your content very much as well. So it's cost effective in the sense that if you were to be doing ads, you could be looking at a minimum of £300 a month, £400 a month ad spend. You know, you need that to work. You absolutely need that to work. Whereas you might not see such quick wins, but the ongoing compounding nature of SEO then does definitely build. And who was it the other day? Somebody had, oh yeah, one of my clients, he does charity bid writing. So that's the other thing to say, is niche is good. So if you are niche online, or finding a niche definitely helps, because you're niche. There's going to be less competition by the nature of it. And he is quite niche with what he does, and he started to have more inquiries, and one of his jobs turned into a £3,000 contract. So he was very happy that we'd got all that sorted. So yeah, it's cost effective. You do, yes, you know, you might have to spend time up front, but long term that kind of benefits you. You're also getting that competitive edge. In order for SEO to work and for you to be ranking and your site to be performing, you're going to be more competitive. That's another byproduct of this. And also brand credibility and building that as well. So I think that's everything I wanted to share apart from my top tip. Did anybody notice that in the email that I sent? Oh yeah, okay, right. So here's something that you can go and action today. If you have any links that you send out where you send them directly to the app, then you want to change that. So for example, Instagram gives you one link. No, actually it gives you a bit more than that now, but essentially you've got a limited amount of links. So what people often do is set up a link tree or an equivalent, which is a free, you can do a link tree for free. But what you're doing is you're not getting that initial click, and you might not get the subsequent click. So rather than having a link tree, you have a links page on your website, because then you're getting the traffic directly to your site, which is what we want to do. We want to get them off social media onto your website. So if you use anything like that, that's something you can change really quickly. And then the other one is Calendly. If you do take online bookings, don't send them to the Calendly. Embed your Calendly that's another topic. Embed your Calendly widget and code in the contact page and get them to your contact page. So then you're getting more traffic. hopefully you can all go away and action something like that today. Right, so that's kind of everything I wanted to say. Anybody, any questions? No? All right, in that case, can I ask you to maybe share one gem in the chat for something today that you could feel like you can take away, that you've learned that maybe you hadn't thought of previously? It just helps me, kind of just gives me a bit of feedback on the content I'm delivering. Yeah. Brilliant, Martin. Making sure all external links point back to the website. Yes. Yeah. Is that something, do you have a links page on your site?
I don't.
Okay.
Yet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent. Anna, that niche is good. Naomi, links page, brilliant. I loved hearing about how your website is doing the pre-qualification for you. So your leads are hot rather than cold and needing a lot of work to convert. Yeah, exactly. I just sent the Calendly link, and yes, why not the sales page? Excellent. Good, good. So I have just popped in there a link for, if you want to do an audit on your website, you can get a score just on how it's doing. If you would like to chat to me about your website or where you're at, or any questions that you might have, then you can do that. You can book in a call with me there. And also I do have a bit of a kickstart the year offer going on at the moment. So if you were interested in, seeing if we were a good fit and wanted to explore how we could work together, then I would be able to share that with you on that call. But beyond that, thank you so much to everybody for coming. And yeah, great to see you all, and hope to see you again.
Thanks, Natalie.
Okay.
Thank you very much.